I have a share for you all today. I'm mixing up the energy a little bit. So this is not going to really be what y'all might think it's going to be. As you see the title, it says about being different. It's not going to be this, what you think it is. I actually have a share, a content creator. I am going to share some of their information. So I'm going to give credit to the person, Crystal Crawford. Let me see if it'll allow me to put a comment, because again, for YouTube purposes, um, I'm trying to remember what some of the rules are. The thing about social media, um, bear with me here. I'm gonna pose a question here. A poll. Are you aware of disembodied entities? Okay. Okay. Are you aware of disembodied entities? Are you aware of disembodied entities? So, about being different, you know, I'm African American, I'm 50 years old, and I come from, I was reared in a family setting that didn't have much. Okay, so I was raised for the first 14 years of my life by the woman that I know to be my maternal grandmother. And, we just did not have a lot. Okay, we might not have been dirt poor. I mean, in a sense, but we didn't grow up in the projects, necessarily, but we still did not have much. Okay, I didn't grow up in a two-parent home and all of the good bells and whistles and stuff like that. Okay, so anywho, about being different and about culture and all these things, we grew up as Christian. Now, if you want to ask the question whether or not family really, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of life and behind the scene, then I would have to tell you something different. Okay. And that's only because once you get older, you come to realize that it's more than about, charity, going to church, going to a church service. Um, it's even more than just, the cleaning up on the outside, if you will. Okay, because some of that, as you go through the ranks, it starts to kind of become that. Then it's you clean, you're clean, you clean dirt, kind of vibe. And so, but about being different, something came to mind today, something I was able to utilize and practice that helped myself. It came into one of my feeds. I orchestrated a facilitation. I have been doing some of this, but since me and my son's life has been in such an upheaval, then it kind of threw some things off. But then this came back to mind as to even what we're experiencing. Entities. Are you aware of disembodied entities? And disembodied entities, whether they're air quote considered demon or a trapped being, I am going to say that even though I've been facilitating what I'm about to share with you all, I have a caveat to it, because I don't know if these individuals know that the reincarnation is actually a trap. I don't know if they've evolved to that level of understanding and consciousness that the whole little package, the whole little, you know, as a trap. And so I'm on the side of it to where I can work with the facilitation of energy as they're talking about, but I'm implementing something in addition. Where it's like, however, choice. Don't believe don't buy that package. Okay, because you're not going to be able to glean from it the way you think you're going to be able to glean from it. But that's not really what this video is about. I'm not here to talk about what I've come to believe as a trap and a system behind it. That's not this video. Okay, so if you're interested in knowing more about that, we won't be getting into that on this video. This one is just about the awareness and being different, and how there could be manifestations of stuff in our lives and on our lives in environments that is to do with entities. Some of the times the entities were already attached to the land, city, state, location. Okay, sometimes those entities are disembodied humans, and sometimes those entities aren't. Sometimes it is to do with spell work where they're, folks sent it. Other times it isn't. Either way, in all cases, listen, in all cases, did you all know that we have choice, which is...
In this video, Crystal Crawford demonstrates techniques for...
Which is, in the, Salem witch hunt, in historical events as we know it, there's so much ignorance that is almost embarrassing. But witch hunting people is not something that's supposed to still be being done. This facilitator is going to mention that at the end, and I kind of laughed because I was like, yeah, oh dear, she hasn't caught on to that part. And it's okay, because I'm like, they're still doing it. Anything is a witch hunt. See, even when we hear the term witch hunt, many of us have a connotation behind it, but modern day witch hunt is anybody who is walking to a beat of a different drum, and influences that gets involved to so-called teach that person a lesson, to try to force them into conformity, to try to get them to repent, if you will, or to stop them. These are all modern day forms of witch hunting. Some of us are going to recall witch hunt in the form of sexuality. There was an era and a time where if you were found out to be gay, lesbian, bi, non-binary, all things, whatever, there was an era in history where first and foremost, you, the doctors, the philosophers, the teachers, the leaders of that time decided that it was to do with a mental illness, and you would have been treated as such. If they would have found out about that, they would have ostracized you, made your life difficult, and possibly forced you into electric shock therapy because your attraction, your desire was clinically considered unnatural. And that, some of us are going to go there one of these days and realize, like, once upon a time, I was on the side of a witch hunt because my people were not supposed to be able to be. We were looked at as freaks. And when I say we, that's those of you who are identifying as whatever you identify as: gay, lesbian, bisexual, non-binary, whatever, anything other than this traditional heterosexual stuff. Okay? I know I'm a little bit off topic, and I'm going to get into it here in a minute, but this is some of the stuff that kind of bothered me about some of the gay people that I've come in contact with that's being a part of this whole bullshit. It's like, once upon a time, you were a target. You should know better. You really should. You should know better than to participate in any witch hunts, any kind of targeting of lives of people that are different than you, because once upon a time it was you. Anyway, as well as the African American culture, that's another thing that bugs the hell out of me, because once upon a time it was us. We just, since it wasn't us physically, it was us in terms of ancestry, but once upon a time it was. And even now it still is, in a sense, depending on what side of the fence of this stuff that we're on. Once upon a time, we were witch hunted, if you will, for being different, for being black, for who we were and our ancestral traditions, even though that was a lie, because these people utilized those things for themselves. But let's get to the video. I want to get to the share, okay? If you are open to this, okay, this is for those of you who stumble on this video and you are starting to look at the world from a whole different angles and lenses. I'm dedicating this to you all because it's something that came to me to help me, and I see how it helped me today as I facilitated it. And it reminded me of what has to be from here on out, no matter where me and my son land. Because at the end of the day, this is our situation for right now. And what possibilities could there be what options, choices, and possibilities are there to make this as, under the circumstances of everything that I'm dealing with and everything that you're dealing with when you see this video. When you've done all that you can do in the physical, natural, matrix, material world sense, when you've exercised and exhausted every tangible thing that you have the means to do in every now moment, what other options and possibilities could there be to empower yourself to change and transform your space and reality to an extent? What unseen world and entities are perhaps the reason why there's skin issues that arise, the reason why there's this unsettled, anxious energy? And when you are still dealing with clearing your own energy, ridding yourself of programs like empathing and the disruption of your own biofield, then you're simply picking up like sponge. And depending on who you are, you could be mirroring it. Innocent souls, they manifest, and the world just don't know how to interpret. If an energy and environment is catastrophic, chaotic, toxic, they may mirror psychosis behavior because they are picking up the psychosis that's in an environment. And that's something that my culture and my demographic and age demographic and upbringing did not know about, and even still don't. Okay, because it's people who stumble across these paths, they stumble across them when they get there. Those that are no longer comfortable with the status quo and are no longer, it ain't working for them to stick to what was always known, because sticking to that keeps them in a perpetual state of suffrage, keeps them in a perpetual state of starting over trauma, surviving, suffrage over and over again, while everybody else sit pretty and comfortable and tell you it's going to be better someday. Learning that there's got to be better possibilities than this. That ain't working for me. I'm not here to just, I may have been tricked here, but nonetheless, I have no intention of just being here to be somebody's torture project. And to, while everybody else, the fat cats, you know, in some cases, living off of my essence. So let's listen to that. What other options could there be? Sometimes it ain't us, and then they'll classify you as a depressive, put you in a depressed environment full of entities, full of psychosis, full of clutter, chaos, claustrophobia, possible murder, death, mistreatment, betrayals, all sorts of stuff attached to the space. And when you have a manifestation, and lo and behold, the powers that be that benefit off of you being in that kind of conscious state in reality, lo and behold, oh, they're bipolar. Oh, they're schizo. Oh, I mean, because that's the way this world is classifying things. It's unfortunate. Oh, they're just stressed. Yeah, the energy is dirty. Yeah. There's all kinds of betrayal that has happened here. There's all sorts of injustices that has happened here. There's all sorts of, all kinds of shit. Unkept, neglected. Because all of this is a reflection of an energy. Because sometimes fat cats don't want to lose that money. So, I ain't saying it's everybody, but sometimes, you neglect a place, a space, so that the people can keep most of the money in their pockets. Uh-oh. Bear with me. So I think I'm going to end this one here at 19 minutes. Okay. So if you all stumble on this video, participate. Oh, it looks like I got some participants. I didn't even see that I had a participant at all. What? Okay, anyways, I don't know who those two are, but whatever. Because I don't see them active here. But that is what me and my son have been experiencing. Now, can you imagine how this has affected us and you if you found yourself in a similar situation dealing with homelessness? Or should we say, someone I spoke with here recently, instead of saying homelessness or unhoused, they say displaced. So if you're dealing with displacement, and that is subjecting you to being in all of very varied, interesting environments that are full of people that are dealing with displacement and all of that, can you imagine how that affects? We talk about the energy field, the biofield, the mind, body, so all of that. And then if you can't utilize the things that would normally help you. You see how some of these places and things, whether they intend this to be or not, because I'm not saying that they do, but how it puts you at a crossroads, because if you can't address, but today I was reminded of a way that I could. I was reminded that though I can't do the full throttle of things that under normal circumstances had me and my son had our own literal space where we can do our practices from A to Z without anybody being able to do anything about it or penalize or make an issue out of. There are many things that we can do that doesn't require you violating any space that you may find yourself happening to be in. Okay, that's what was encouraging to me. Am I implying, is it going to fix? I think that everything starts with energy, and I think we're going to have to be progressive with it, because if something is long standing, if you're still surrounded by a lot of stuff, and if you have people that's also intentionally sending, so we may have to dedicate devices, we may have to record ourselves on something and let it play in spaces. We may have to be progressive with it, just so that we can feel more empowered and spacious within ourselves, so that we can do what? So we can think clearly. And I'm going to stick to this. I'm going to stick to my guns. Environment is everything. Haven't you ever wondered, why do you go inside a certain space? All of us, if we're honest about this and stop BSing. Haven't you ever wondered, like, let's say you go somewhere and it's really nice and beautiful. Now, depending, you can step into a nice and beautiful place, and this content creator, she's going to share that with y'all. So this is what really blessed my heart, because it's like she brought in this angle where it's like there's an assumption that just because a place is nice and clean, that there's no entities, no activity. She was lived and experienced, have money, and still it was an off atmosphere. And that's because she's sensitive to entities. And so this also spits over the notion that you're only going to sense entities and disruptive vibrations and frequencies in impoverished places. You can land in some fanciful places and it still have an off vibe. I've been in these environments before, where it's like, okay, like they got stuff, but why? What is this? What is this energy? Okay, it's nice, but what is this? Okay, so we looks like we have half and half. 50% of the voters said that they are aware of disembodied entities, and 50% said that they are not. So I will be sharing parts, not all of whatever her name is here. What's her name? Anywho, I'm going to be back because I want my videos to be shorter. That's something else I'm trying to work on here. Yeah, I want my videos to be shorter. So think about that with this video. The things that I shared, all the tidbits of information here. And I'm going to end it with saying, what other options and possibilities could there be? What choices? How does it get better than this? How could we get better than this from here? With all things being equal, and all limitations and restrictions, and all the various variables that may very well be, what is the place of empowerment that we can manifest and see? Because anywhere that we have to lay our head, for any space that we land in and find that we have to be in for a significant period of time, that's important. That atmosphere, that environment, because that's the space where you where you are tapping in. That is the space where you are attempting self-care and self-love. That is the space where you are attempting to make very pertinent, important decisions. Environment is everything. And how can we, even with limited power or control over a situation, how can we empower ourselves from an energetic perspective here? Because we're talking about entities. No matter what its origins is. As I mentioned, whether this is people conjuring, secret conjurers that are conjuring and sending things. Or, you know, in my case,
it's a call.
Okay, in my case, it's all of it. It's all of it. We are experiencing what's attached to this land, this city, this state, this building, this neighborhood, and all of the activities that have ever taken place here, and everything that's embodied here and that's frequenting here, that has ever taken place in this room, as well as people sending things, as well as, like I said, stuff that was long here, long ago, maybe even another whole dimension and timeline. But the longitude, latitude, the land. It's, you know, think of it like this. There's never been any clearing in some cases. So you just have an accumulation. So I shouldn't be all that surprised if my son displays more anxiety and stress on top of the natural appearance and the natural restrictions of things. Environment is everything. I shouldn't be surprised if we're manifesting entities, and she's going to talk about this. I'll share her on the next video, where it can manifest psychosomatic, autoimmune, all of these things. And then, you know, powers that be, this is how it benefits them. It gets to victimize you. It gets to make you just look like some poor, unfortunate soul that just need help. You know. I love it. It came just in time. There's a couple things that happened where I was like, because I had to go deep in reflection, because I'm like, There were too much tricksters, too many trickster energies, way too many playing in my face every day. Way too many cult members hiding in plain sight. Way too many. About being different. Many of us have suffered lifetime after lifetime, time after timeline, and we still are. Modern day witch hunts. And sometimes these be people who want your giftings or are jealous of your giftings or feel like they can make better use of it because they believe the right way and you believe the wrong way. When you're different, then they want you to suffer. Then they want you to be subject to suffering, even if they're pretending to have absolutely no knowledge and understanding. Environment is everything. Not just visual, not just aesthetic energy. Vibe, vibration. The lady that I'm going to share, she's going to show you all. She's actually walking through. She's going to show you all. Don't get it twisted. You can be in a high rise, nice little, and it was nice. It was nice. Nice little, and it was off. The energy. And that's because, and to her admit, and it wasn't even judgment. She takes you through the facilitation. I did my own facilitation. I was reminded about that, and I instantly sensed a different vibe for me and my son. Is it final? No. This has to be progressive. This is what I'm starting to accept, especially when you are subjected to having to be enclosed and encompassed by a whole lot of shit. Even if we were to take away what some people believe out there is conspiracy, and I have to put it that way because that's what they want to believe. Okay, they want to believe it's a conspiracy or some kind of paranoia because it's convenient for them to believe that. But so even if we were to remove that, environment is still everything. If we take away everything to do with stalking, harassing, people trying to kill us, target us, sacrifice us off, even if we were to take away all of that, environment is still everything. What has happened here on this land? What accumulated events? All dimensions and timelines. What happened here? What kind of injustices? The negligence of the land. Did we know that that's all a vibration? Do we know? See, I didn't. No, I didn't. And you know why? Because that's not what's taught. Anywhere you have to dwell for a significant period of time, environment matters. When you're talking about trying to rebuild and reform, environment matters. When you're wanting individuals to be able to be their best, highest self and have their most whole self, not your whole self, their whole self, not your stamps of systems, theirs. When you're talking about wanting somebody, a population of people, to be able to excel in life and build again and be healthy. You're talking holistic work now. And holistic work includes more than the physical. And it also includes more than the natural. It also includes more than any religious and philosophical bent. It's based on vibration, energy, and the individual. But allowing a space conducive for that. We are not taught. Some of us know, we just pretending to not know. You want someone to be able to think clearly. Is that really the goal? You want them to be able to tap in and be guided and be assertive. And, we love programs. I love programs. I think one of these days I'm going to be an owner and a facilitator of program. But with that, environment is everything. That includes the structure. That includes everything, baby. Everything. The building, the setup, the upkeep. All of it. Energy. What's happened there? Some grave injustice. Somebody died because somebody didn't believe they was telling the truth about some kind of abuse. Somebody died because they stood up. They were a real advocate against bullying, and they stood up, and it cost them their life. See, real advocates don't get to just stay pretty. They get bloody. Did somebody suffer domestic violence? Nobody believed it, and they died. So their voice was shut down. And are they trapped? Does chaos seem to, people acting out different things, and the lack of knowledge is hurting people, hurting children even. I have to go on the record to say that. I do. I was a young mama and my ignorance hurt my son. You understand? It hurt him. It made him subject to motherfuckers he shouldn't have never been subjected to. My behavior, my young ignorantness, this applies here too. Because they're just innocent, pure vessels, and they're manifesting, and they don't know, and they getting beat into oblivion because they peed in the bed. Ignorant motherfucker. Entities harassing them, manifestation, terrorizing them in their dreams and shit, and our dumb ass. I'm just saying, because our ignorance, we be mad, irritated, these entities be fucking with us, and we ain't got no knowledge about it. We tired, exasperated, a single mama, single daddy, got pressure on our back. Everybody, woo. We tired of cleaning up. We tired of, all those things. And the poor kid is like, they're terrorized, and they don't got no damn voice. Environment is everything. I am even an advocate and believe and know that it's not just about nice. The place that my son had before we left Texas was actually very nice in form. I have to put it that way. But it was ugly. Now, within it, I had worked a lot, but then there was energies that started, breaking the law. Doing things they had no business to muddle that up. From within, okay? I'm talking about within, within the apartment. But again, one of the top of the line places you would find in that particular area, one of the newer, nicer, all these amenities, all that stuff, but it was off because it's offness that's going on. It's offness that's allowed. It's crookedness afoot. That makes the place stench. No matter how smelling good it is, it's a stench. And it's a sense of unease. And you're like, okay, for this motherfucker to be so nice, it is good. What is that? What is that? It's entities. Some are trapped, and we're going to get into that. Some of them are not human. Some of them, and this is neither good nor bad. We don't know what we are fully. I'm not going to go there too deep right now. Some of y'all not ready. In time. Environment is everything. But when you are in a space of feeling disempowered because you are displaced temporarily, I'm so going to use that word. A lady I spoke with yesterday used. I'm so going to be using it. And if ever you end up stumbling across my stuff and know who I am, you might laugh. But what can we do? What tangible things can you do where you can test it? See, I'm all about that. And it may look like something different for you. This facilitator is going to get into it, okay? So we're at 4132. I'm going to end it here. Still only 2 voters. Whoever comes in, I don't know if it lets you do it after the live or not. If it lets you do it after the live, feel free. I'm just trying to get a poll out there. How many of us are really and truly, not from our religious structure, you know, because many of us, like myself, we came up, you know, not from that space. And being different, I'm going to do another poll. Like, being different could have affected you since forever. There's a weird need to punish people who don't beat to the drum that we want them to beat to. And we pretend like that's not the space that we operate from, but we do. One of these days, I will be standing before some big wigs. May not be that far down the road. And I'm going to look them in the face with honor and respect to them and myself. And I'm going to pose a question that they are never going to be able to shake, no matter what they do. Is with who you are and who you represent in your leadership and your position, and what you are creating and fostering out there for vulnerable populations. Is it honoring? Or is it something that is being used like panderers? Is it honoring to all walks of life? Not for the 5 minutes to get them in. Because if it's not, then that's dishonor.